In 2015, a landmark agreement known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, was reached between Iran and 6 world powers: the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Russia, China, and Germany. This deal aimed to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions in exchange for sanctions relief. The JCPOA was hailed as a diplomatic triumph, offering a path to normalize relations with Iran and prevent a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. However, the Trump administration's decision to unilaterally withdraw from the JCPOA in 2018 plunged the region back into uncertainty. Trump argued that the deal was flawed and did not address Iran's ballistic missile program or its regional activities. Critics, however, saw the withdrawal as a politically motivated move that undermined diplomacy and escalated tensions with Iran. The reimposition of sanctions by the US had a crippling effect on the Iranian economy. This move also dealt a significant blow to the credibility of the US as a negotiating partner, leaving European allies scrambling to salvage the deal. The US withdrawal created a dangerous void in the region, paving the way for other actors to fill the vacuum. Following the US withdrawal from the JCPOA, Iran gradually increased its uranium enrichment levels. Uranium enrichment is a complex process that increases the concentration of the uranium-235 isotope, which is necessary for nuclear reactors and weapons. The higher the enrichment level, the closer the uranium is to weapons grade. While Iran has maintained that its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes, its enrichment activities have raised concerns among the international community. Iran has enriched uranium to 60%, a significant step closer to the 90% level required for nuclear weapons. This move has been widely interpreted as a response to the US sanctions and a bargaining chip in future negotiations. The International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog, has been monitoring Iran's nuclear program closely. While the IAEA has acknowledged Iran's cooperation in allowing inspections, it has also expressed concerns about the lack of transparency regarding certain aspects of the program. The issue of Iran's nuclear program remains a major point of contention in the region and a potential flashpoint for conflict. In recent years, a noticeable shift in geopolitical alliances has unfolded, with Russia and Iran drawing closer together. This partnership is driven by shared interests, including countering Western influence in the Middle East and Central Asia, as well as economic cooperation in the face of sanctions. Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022 further cemented this alliance, with Iran providing drones and other military support to Russia. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's visit to Tehran in February 2025 underscored the growing strategic partnership between the two countries. Lavrov criticized the West for abandoning the JCPOA and called for the lifting of sanctions on Iran. He emphasized the need for dialogue and diplomacy to resolve the nuclear issue. Russia's support for Iran extends beyond rhetoric. The two countries have engaged in joint military exercises, and Russia is assisting Iran in developing its civilian nuclear program. This burgeoning alliance has significant implications for regional stability and the global balance of power. The West's stance on Iran's nuclear program has often been characterized by accusations of hypocrisy and double standards. Critics point to the West's own history of nuclear weapons development and its continued possession of such weapons as evidence of a lack of moral authority. The US in particular faces scrutiny for its use of atomic bombs on Japan during World War II, and its role in nuclear proliferation during the Cold War. Furthermore, the West's selective outrage over nuclear proliferation has been called into question. While Iran's nuclear program has been subject to intense scrutiny and sanctions, other countries with nuclear weapons, such as Israel and India, have faced far less pressure. This perceived double standard has fueled resentment in Iran and other parts of the global South. The West's historical baggage and its inconsistent application of international norms have undermined its credibility on the global stage. This has created an environment of mistrust and suspicion, making it more difficult to address legitimate concerns about Iran's nuclear program. Section 5. Shifting Sands, the Rise of the Global South. The global balance of power is undergoing a significant transformation, with the rise of emerging powers like China, India, and Brazil. This shift is challenging the traditional dominance of the West and creating new centers of influence in international affairs. The Global South, a term used to describe developing countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, is playing an increasingly assertive role on the world stage. Iran, despite facing sanctions and isolation, has sought to capitalize on this shifting geopolitical landscape. The country has strengthened its ties with Russia and China, forming a strategic triangle that challenges Western hegemony. These partnerships provide Iran with economic and political lifelines, allowing it to withstand pressure from the West. The rise of the Global South has significant implications for the future of international order. It is leading to a more multipolar world, where power is more diffuse and no single country or bloc of countries can dictate terms. This changing dynamic is creating both opportunities and challenges for global governance and security. Section 6. Realpolitik reigns, morality takes a backseat. International relations are often characterized by a stark disconnect between rhetoric and reality. While countries may espouse lofty ideals of peace, cooperation, and human rights, their actions are often driven by self-interest and a pragmatic pursuit of power. This is the essence of realpolitik, a school of thought that emphasizes the pursuit of national interest above all else. The case of Iran's nuclear program illustrates the dominance of realpolitik in international affairs. The West's stance towards Iran has been shaped more by strategic calculations and a desire to maintain its regional dominance than by genuine concerns about nuclear proliferation. Similarly, Iran's pursuit of nuclear technology can be seen as a way to enhance its security and deter potential adversaries. In the realm of international relations, morality often takes a backseat to pragmatism. Countries are primarily concerned with their own survival and advancement, and they will use whatever means necessary to achieve their goals. This reality can be disheartening, but it is essential to understand the motivations and constraints that shape state behavior. Section 7. A future uncertain, navigating the nuclear conundrum. The future of Iran's nuclear program remains uncertain, with the possibility of both escalation and diplomacy on the horizon. The Biden administration has expressed a willingness to rejoin the JCPOA, but it has also insisted on additional negotiations to address Iran's ballistic missile program and its regional activities. Iran, on the other hand, has demanded the lifting of all sanctions as a precondition for talks. The path forward is fraught with obstacles. Mistrust between Iran and the West runs deep, and there are hardliners on both sides who are opposed to any compromise. The situation is further complicated by the involvement of other regional actors, such as Israel and Saudi Arabia, who view Iran as a threat. Despite the challenges, diplomacy remains the only viable option to prevent a nuclear crisis in the Middle East. A return to the JCPOA, while not a perfect solution, would provide a framework for addressing international concerns about Iran's nuclear program. It would also create an opportunity to build trust and address other regional security issues. Section 8. Conclusion. A call for dialogue and diplomacy. The Iranian nuclear issue is a complex and multifaceted problem with no easy solutions. It is a microcosm of the challenges facing the international community in a world characterized by shifting power dynamics, competing interests, and a lack of trust. While the shadow of conflict looms large, there is still hope that dialogue and diplomacy can avert disaster. Resolving the nuclear standoff requires a multifaceted approach that addresses the legitimate security concerns of all parties involved. This includes a return to the JCPOA, the lifting of sanctions on Iran, and a commitment to dialogue and confidence-building measures. It also requires addressing the underlying issues that fuel regional instability, such as the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the rivalry between Saudi Arabia and Iran. The stakes are too high to allow the Iranian nuclear issue to escalate into conflict. The international community must prioritize diplomacy, engage in good faith negotiations, and work towards a peaceful and sustainable solution. The future of the Middle East, and indeed the world, may depend on it.